Hi, my name is Craig Iyer. I'm the athletic director at Tecumseh High School and Middle School. This is just a preseason information. It's a short video, just kind of summarizing the things that you've already went through when you registered on Final Forms. Just going to provide you with some information. The PowerPoints that were on there from myself, the Tecumseh High School, and the OHSA, please read those. Most important thing that I want you to know off of my video or PowerPoint presentation is my purpose statement that I lead to serve relentlessly through education-based athletics with love and empathy to promote human growth and development. I firmly believe that is why I'm here. I'm here to help. So if you have questions, please make sure you reach out to me and we'll get your questions answered the best that we can. One thing I will tell you, in the wintertime, I did a video like this, hit the send button, and it was probably a couple hours later, the OHSA and Ohio Department of Health changed some things. So that may happen again as well. So we just be flexible and we'll get through this as well. I am super confident that the spring is going to be a whole lot easier than the winter season was. We still have some protocol to follow. It's important that we follow the protocol in case it comes down to we have to contact trace. I don't want to quarantine teams. I really believe if we do things the right way, I think teams getting quarantined will not happen in the spring. Now, if we're careless, then that could change, obviously. We're very fortunate that we are contracted with Kettering Sports Medicine and Lindsay Balls, our athletic trainer. She is here basically on non-competition days, 2:30 to 6:30. She will be here during baseball and softball season, all home games, as well as all our home track meets. If you need to get a hold of her, you can contact me as well, and I can get you in touch with her in case you have an emergency that you would need to have some treatment. The two things that have to happen is there has to be a current physical on file, and you must be registered on Final Forms. And I believe you're registered on Final Forms or you wouldn't be seeing this video. But again, physical's got to be current and on file. Some of the documents that you went through, one of them is the Code of Conduct. And it's important that you read this. And usually what happens is nobody pays attention to the Code of Conduct until there is an issue, whether your son or daughter gets caught drinking, smoking, one of those things, then people start looking through that, trying to find loopholes. We do hold each other to higher standards, and that's the way it is. There was an update this past summer with a GPA. The GPA now is a 1.5, which still is not very high. You got to have a 1.5 or higher GPA to participate in athletics. And at the high school level only, there's a one-time kind of a waiver if you would dip below that. Now, speaking of grades, March 22nd, that is when grades are due by teachers, and Mrs. Short and myself will be checking eligibility. Your third quarter grades will determine whether or not you're eligible for the rest of the spring season. And if you're eligible now and you play in a scrimmage, that's fine. But once we check those grades, if you're ineligible, then unfortunately your season will be over. Social media and websites, I use Tecumseh Arrows Athletics as the most important contact piece. The nice thing about that is whenever I put information on our website, it will go to Twitter and to Facebook as well. But I don't post a lot of direct information on those two things. I will occasionally get scores out on Twitter, but again, Tecumseh Arrows Athletics will feed those two social medias. Central Buckeye Conference has their own website, and that is CBC Sports Online. Great for looking at standings. And also for baseball and softball, you will be able to see some statistics. That was easy to say, wasn't it? Emails. It is really important that you check emails from Final Forms. This is how I communicate with you as parents and kids and also the coaches. It's just easier to mass communicate that way. Your teams are already set up, or I can send it out to all the spring athletes or specifics. So again, please check that, especially track parents. I will try to communicate with you when it comes to ticketing for away events. And hopefully it's just the weather getting us this spring, and I can contact you as well, to let you know things are canceled. put this on here because it's really important. These are a couple of things that will bite kids and make them lose their eligibility. Got to be taking, and this is a high school level, 5 credits. And what that means is you cannot be taking PE, weight training class, or yearbook. Those do not count towards your 5 credits of eligibility. Um, if you do not pass 5 credits, you are not eligible. Study hall does not count either. And at the middle school, you got to pay attention. Just a little different. All your classes that you take, with the exception of study hall, counts towards your credit. The problem is if you're only having 5 classes, let's say, and you take 1 study hall, because you only have 6 periods, you would be ineligible if you had 1F. So that's where you got to be just a little bit careful, because you don't have 7 credits, you have 6. If you have a study hall, that basically means you cannot get an F. So again, if you have questions, please don't be afraid to reach out and ask me questions. Playing the same sport, what usually happens in the spring and where this comes into play is with baseball and softball. You start getting ready for your summer teams, whether it's rec or travel ball. If you're still playing for our high school team, make sure you're not practicing, working out, playing in any games with your summer team, because you will then become ineligible. And if you play and we have won a game, we have to forfeit. So ask questions. It's really simple. Just don't do it. Don't play any other sport. Don't play the same sport during your sports season. Now, if you are somewhere, you do another sport and you have a workout, that's fine. But again, ask me, get a hold of me, email, call me, and I'll answer the questions for you. Transfer, I leave that on because I think it's really important. When usually what happens in a transfer, if it's not work related or moving, it's happens because somebody's upset with a coach. And what happens then? You move a kid over, let's say you take them to Bethel. Now you become ineligible unless you make a bona fide move. At the midpoint of the season, you become ineligible and you don't get to do the OHSA tournaments. So ask questions before you do something that you will regret and where it hurts your son or daughter. That's my point for having that there. Transfer out, let me know and I can help you. If you've transferred in and this is your first season playing at Tecumseh, I need to know that as well to make sure that you're not violating a rule. If you've moved in, it's simple, but if you're a transfer in, I got to see what you've done the last 12 months. The eligibility ultimately falls back on the athlete. I'm here to help, and Mr. Oaks is here to help, and Mrs. Short. But you got to remember, if we have 300 or 400 athletes, we cannot possibly keep track of all of you. But if you drop a class, have us check your schedule. CCP kids are really good about having me double check their schedules. Bring your schedule in. I'll gladly look at it for you. Make sure that you're eligible and okay. And again, if you remember my purpose statement, ask questions. I'm here to help. We're on the same page. Coaches, athletes, myself, we're all on the same team. And our number one goal is to get your kids through the season. Hopefully they have an enjoyable time. They learn from it. That's the most important thing for us, in my opinion. Ticket information. Tickets are going to be a lot easier. Really, the only teams dealing with tickets will be the track teams. And I will tell you, at home events, I am not planning on using codes. That way, people that want to come to the events, you can come to the events. Now, it will be online. I will share that information later on as we get closer to the events, but tickets will be purchased online and they'll just be scanned. At this point, there's no plan on putting limits on those. Now, when we're away, depending on the venue, some venues are small and they got to go off their fixed seating. I can't tell you what other teams are going to do or other schools. I will share that information when time gets closer. Some may do cash at the gate. Some may not. It'll be tickets online like we're going to do. But again, I will do the best I can to communicate with you to let you know what's going on. However, baseball, softball, even tennis, I believe, there will be tickets for the tournament that you'll have to purchase. They will be online. I just threw that out there for you so you knew it was coming and it's not a total shock when we get towards the end of the season. But again, I will share information with you via the Final Forms email. So make sure you're paying attention to that, especially track athletes and parents. Just kind of wrapping up here, the one thing I haven't said is pay to participate. That is due March 15th. I understand that's close. That is due in full. Again, I don't have anything to do with partial payments. I don't have, it's my job to make sure I communicate with you that it is due March 15th. So please make sure you get that taken care of. Baseball and softball, I left that in here. Basically, the requirements, you need to know this. I am removing the bleachers from both softball and baseball. There'll be no bleachers. And when you go on the road too, take your lawn chairs with you. Again, you'll have to wear a mask when you're on our grounds, and when you're on any other school ground, you'll have to wear a mask and social distance. Those are the keys. If you do those things, not going to be an issue. I will tell you this, I've been informed that the OHSA is still going to be sending out their COVID observers to make sure that we're following protocol. I'll have some signs coming in, but again, baseball and softball is pretty wide open. Just make sure you social distance from each other. And the signs basically say have your mask on, wear it properly, and sit separate from other families. Middle school and high school track, again, you're going to follow the stadium protocols, which they're pretty clearly marked at our place, and I'm sure they are at the visiting places as well. Tennis, again, like baseball and softball, make sure that you social distance and wear your mask. Folks, that's all I really have. I'm super confident that the spring, it's obviously going to be better than what you dealt with last year. Just be flexible. There will be some things that pop up that maybe we don't like, but again, this whole season, and really it should be all the time. The focus needs to be on kids competing, learning lessons, playing with their teammates, having an enjoyable time. So that's what we're about. Again, thank you for your time, and go Arrows.